So this is a short build overview for the warrior that I showed in my Elizabeth video, doing 1 minute and 20. There are faster people since then, but since you asked for a short build guide, sorry, that was my Discord, I thought I would just put one out there. So it's a very high crit build because we'll look at the gear in a second. If you look at warrior's talents, the entire kit is built around crit. Actually, the first talent, your physical critical strikes make the enemies bleed for quite a high amount of damage. So, I mean, this told me instantly that most warrior builds are going to want to focus on crit. Granted, armor penetration and fervor, they're great, but since the kit revolves around crit, I thought, let's go with it. So you take every talent that you can that essentially will assist with crit damage and critical chance. So there's the tree there. You can just copy that as you will and have a look at the nodes yourself in your own time. I don't know if there's something better than this. I don't really think so. I've looked at this several times, and these nodes seem to be the best choices. The only thing that I would try out swapping between is these two here on the first 1-star row. I don't know if hemorrhage crits would be better than just overall bleed damage. Something to test, maybe. Anyway, as for the gear, your main weapon is a cheese moon. And this is because this weapon, with its abilities and passives, grant you a flat 10% crit, which is pretty nice. And the auto-attack combo, while it doesn't have any AoE, on its final strike, it's pretty quick. So, coupled with Dominion, you can get out the Heartsteel final strike damage pretty quick on cooldown. Your arsenal weapon is a Judgment, because the passive gives you a flat 25% damage increase to all bosses, because they're all immune to crowd control effects. Also, since it's a crit build that then bases itself off of high damage hits and therefore high damage bleeds, we're using Rampage. Yes, granted, you're not doing any DPS for the 3 seconds while you charge this up. And when it doesn't crit, it feels terrible. But when it does, you get a nice juicy bleed effect off of this, and it's extremely satisfying, especially just in everyday mob killing and farming, because, I mean, I was farming the human patrol, Captain Ben, with his, I think he's got like 4 archers and 5 or something melee guys, and if you time it right when they spawn, you evaporate all of the humans instantly when it crits, so they just disappear. It's very satisfying. So yeah, those are the weapons. Obviously these are upgraded to level 3. I have the Zealot chant on the cheese moon just for some extra crit. And gear-wise, you might notice, oh my god, he's wearing greens. Yeah, because the green amulets and rings in the current state of the game are better than the blue ones, especially if you're stacking crit. I don't think there's a higher level one than 17 for this necklace. Also, a caveat, I should probably put better gems on some of these, because one of them doesn't even have a gem. Which goes to show there's a lot more potential for this build, because in the Elizabeth video that I put out, I'm not even using food, potions, or a whetstone. In fact, my inventory still has weight stones from when I was using Ammon Ram, which is an okay substitute. The trouble with Ammon Ram is, while it does give you 10% crit and 10% fervor from its buff, it's a bit clunky in the sense that you're kind of waiting for a crit to be able to use the instant ability, and you also have to have the 5 stacks. So you're not going to have that crit and fervor all the time. Also, the weapon itself doesn't have any crit on it, which is not that great. I have tried both, and I find Cheese Moon to be better. Also, I definitely don't want to go farming for another one of these, given that Monster Chuck's trains are currently being driven by professional NBA players. So, yes, crit necklace, crit rings. For most of the gear, you kind of want to balance it between gear that has crit and gear that is split between mostly strength and, if you have to, a bit of dexterity. It doesn't really help that much. All it helps is Cheese Moon's first ability, which is not great. But stacking strength is good. Stacking armor is good for heart steel. And with this, actually, what you want to do is, if you can time it well enough, you want to be using Fortifying Cry before your heart steel hits. This essentially doubles the damage it gets from it. And you can get some pretty juicy crits from that. So shoulders are, thankfully there's a really nice pair of these that are just all crit and strength. Enchantment-wise, yeah, I mean, taking armor is actually good for enchantments because, again, it increases the damage with heart steel. So there's a cloak that I know there's a better one than this that I could use, but that's all I've got. Again, enchantment for hands. This character is by no means perfect. There is so much more improvement I could do, but, warrior is strong enough on its own. Really nice belt that you can get there. Just crit. Does have faith. Again, that's a sort of a when I was using Ammon Ram, you would stack strength and faith, so, but you'd still use that anyway just because of the crit. Really nice legs for crit. Armor pen on the boots. I mean, these are the only high armor strength ones. I think there are some boots that have some crit that's split between strength and some other stat, but these are fine. And of course the raclette pan. This gives you quite a bit of, gives you a flat 10 critical chance once you get the stacks up. Sorry, not 10, 5. So yeah, my default critical chance doing nothing is 35%, which is pretty good. In combat, especially when you pop Battle Shout, that goes up to about 65, so you'll be critting very often. Quite a bit of armor, obviously, because of Heart Steel. So, runes, I typically like using Execution for the extra damage when enemies are low enough on Raging Smash. Charge, you want the double charge rune. That's just so comfy, especially for Lady B. When she does the ground destroying attack, you can just charge out and charge back in again. It's really comfortable. Ignore Pain, I've got the healing effect on it, because the Cheese Moon passive alone is pretty strong if you have a high health pool, because you're critting all the time, so you're going to get that healing every 3 seconds, no matter what. Although, for example, with the Honeyzabeth video that I put out, there are points where if you're being lazy, like me, you just want to tank everything. You can have them sitting in the healing field. You can take all 6 shots from the one that goes up and shoots at you. You just pop this once you've started taking a bit of damage. I mean, you get all the damage reduction as well, and it's more than enough to keep you alive for any fight that's in the game at the moment. Battle Shout, obviously, with the critical strikes extend the duration by 0.25 seconds. If you can get enough crit, I foresee this being sustainable indefinitely until you can use it again, essentially. I mean, with the amount of rage that you generate and how fast Cheese Moon attacks, you'll be getting crits very, very often. But yeah, maybe not. We'll see. And the last one is Berserk, with the Raging Smash extends its duration by 1 second. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't think there's anything else to cover. You could squeeze out a lot more damage from this if you were going to use like Scrolls of Strength, Elixirs of Minor Armor. I did make a few and I never used them. This is my trouble. Whetstones, not weight stones, because it's a sharp weapon. Food buff. I don't even know what food buff you could use for this. Wrong button. It's the crafting menu again. There we go. Would be the best for this. Beehive Lozenge would be good just for the strength, and obviously the vitality then scales your Cheese Moon's passive healing. Oh, well, there you go. Beggar's Garb, yeah, I mean, that's a giveaway. 20 crit. Perfect. Should probably make some of those. Anyway, just to finish off, I'll just hit this dummy how I would normally going into any boss fight. So I literally just buff up straight away at the beginning, charge in, get the final strike off. That was a nice juicy 1600 crit. There is some tech after the number 3 ability, where if you have charge available, you can drop the really lengthy recovery time at the end of charging it up by using charge right afterwards. I find it quite useful for getting a lot of very high burst damage out. And yeah, that is essentially... Oh, you see, I missed the timing there for popping Fortifying Cry. Is it Fortifying Cry? Yeah. Off the Heartsteel buff. It's not the end of the world if you don't hit it. It does mean that your final strike will deal a fair bit less damage, but... yeah, you can see the bleed damage alone while you're fighting is extensive as well, especially when you get some really high crits. What's that ticking for right now? 142? Yeah, it's pretty juicy. That is essentially the same damage as my main character ability is doing on a non-crit, just in bleed damage. Yeah, that's it. So I'll stop there again. I hope this helped. I don't make videos usually, so take that as you will. There won't be any fancy editing or any intros or outros or anything like that.